go in with a plan
Mhm.
and know ahead of time, like, hey, we're going to get in a rough frame of mind. It's natural to do that.
Mhm.
We're probably going to say things that we don't mean. It's
Right.
natural to do that. What are we going to do then?
Right.
Are we going to stay mad or are we going to commit to repairing when we recognize what happened?
You're listening to the Better Relationships After Baby podcast, where we believe your relationship can be better than ever after having a baby. But it does take tools, insights, and support to help you get there. I'm Chelsea. Join me and my husband, Mike, as we have honest conversations, provide valuable tips you can apply today, and root for you to have your best relationship ever. It's not only good for you and your family, it's good for the whole world around us. Now let's get into today's episode.
Another benefit to doing this practice of the story I'm telling myself is that it also externalizes it.
Mm.
So you're not holding it inside. It doesn't feel like it's part of your identity and you're staking everything on it. It makes it possible to approach it like more objectively.
Mhm. I, like, mentally envision, like, rolling something up into a ball in my brain and,
Yeah,
like,
put it out,
holding it out in front of me in my
look at it.
hands.
Yeah,
Right. Because when it feels all-encompassing, it's really hard to get clarity.
it's like in your brain and body, and you just feel
Everything.
all the
And
emotions.
you're in that threat state then because you
You're
don't
holding.
have safety and truth. You're inconsistent. You're
Yeah,
probably jittery or
that's a good point. Yeah, bring it outside of yourself, and it stops impacting you so much. Also,
yeah,
yeah. So I think that's like a huge gift.
right. To be able to use that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that story, that line. Yeah,
right.
because as I was thinking more about this, I'm like, sometimes we get so caught up in our story that we are literally like putting roadblocks up, even to our connection. So things like assumptions and telling stories, and then that kind of creating a chasm and a disconnect,
Mhm.
it adds up to feeling emotionally distant
Right.
from your partner, which then reinforces the negative feelings or stories you're experiencing.
Yeah, and I think in a bigger context, that's really a lot of what our work
Mm.
is to prevent these things from spiraling out.
Yes.
Because that's usually what happens. They get
Right.
into a feedback loop and they just make themselves worse.
Yes. And then I think the next domino to fall is like when you're living in that state, you don't feel as creative, as fun, as patient. You share less giggles and less snuggles and
Right.
dance parties. Like you lose some of that, I guess, what people would call even the spark in your relationship, that,
Mhm.
joyous, positive emotion you share
Yeah.
decreases the more you feel disconnected.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There is a big shift. It's like people feel most like themselves when they're not feeling anxiety and they're not having intrusive thoughts, right? Like they're in this calm state.
Mhm.
Um, they don't have to be like blissed out calm, but it is when someone feels safe enough that that's really the calmness I'm talking about is this sort of like psychological safety that it allows these better qualities that we have to come
Mhm.
out,
Mhm.
right? Like the curiosity and the creativity and the laughter and the
Right.
all the things that really make the relationship full of joy.
And this is where I don't think we go into it in this episode again, but a couple episodes back, and I'll link them in the show notes, we talked specifically about regulation and the nervous system and how that has an impact on the way you are available to connect with each other and how powerful it can be to learn how to help your partner feel safe, not just to love bomb them and hope that it fixes everything, but to
Right.
like truly know
Yeah.
how to make your person feel safe to relax and be open to
Mhm.
connection.
Yeah, good stuff. That's good stuff. One other point on nervous system stuff is when people feel the more survival type of forces, feelings, energies, whatever, like that mode, they don't feel like they feel like themselves,
Mhm.
right? People feel like they're losing control, that they're and that's normal to feel that in a fight or flight. What's not great is that in our world today, parents are pretty much doing this alone, right? Like, and that leads to constant stress, which the brain interprets as threats. And so couples are downshifted into this. They're not 100% survival. It's not like you're either on or off,
Mhm.
right? It's just there's more survival going on, instincts and thoughts and feelings than there are the real flourishing, thriving.
Right. It's almost like our society has become so complicated that there are more and more things to feel like a threat. And so, even though we've progressed as a society,
Mm,
it's not like we've maybe come so far from feeling that fight or flight because
right.
those basic needs are more attainable.
Mhm.
But there's just so much, especially as parents,
Yeah.
to feel fretful
Right.
around.
And that's totally normal, right? That doesn't mean I feel like all the time parents are, they're feeling like they're failing or um, they feel like they're not fit for the job. This is a season of total remaking.
Mm. It
And
can be.
yeah, oh, true.
It's a choice,
It
I
doesn't
think.
have to be. Yeah. But I mean, there's like this rebuilding happening. Um, Yeah. I was gonna say we dream of families having more and more support so that they don't have to go at this alone so much or
Mhm.
shoulder so much of it themselves. Because when the pressure gets taken off of the
Mm.
family, especially those early days, right? They're able to really be better at allowing what needs to change, um, live in the moment and be present to their new
Mm.
child.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of good things happen in that space that aren't allowed to happen because there's just so much. I don't know if it's social pressure or what it is, but
Yeah. It's a lot.
it is a lot, yeah. So but since that's true, you you've gotta be just smart about it, right? Go in with a plan
Mhm.
and know ahead of time, like, "Hey, we're gonna get in a rough frame of mind. It's natural to do that.
Mhm.
We're probably gonna say things that we don't mean. It's
Right.
natural to do that. What are we gonna do then?
Right.
Are we gonna stay mad, or are we gonna commit to repairing when we recognize what happened?"
Yeah. I'm trying to think of this metaphor here, but I'm thinking about, like, the wave pool at the water park, and you go in knowing the waves are gonna hit you,
Mhm,
but I wouldn't let our son go in without a life jacket because I know he needs something to stay afloat, but I'm okay with the waves hitting him and him having that experience,
mhm.
but I wouldn't let him go without his life jacket.
Yeah.
Eh,
That's kind of an okay example. If you're looking at me like, "Does that fit?"
I know I'm
I think
hoping
that's
you're like, "That's awesome," or you give something better.
well, the life jacket to me is more like support, right? Like friends and families or even professionals, a community, right? To keep you
Yeah,
afloat through all,
I
because
think that's
it
what
almost makes the waves fun, right? When
yeah,
you know they're not a real threat.
right, yes, and that you're going to have a place, to always come back up.
Yeah. Right.
I think we were saying the same thing.
All right. I love it when
Okay.
that happens.
So we were talking about the emotional connection, which bleeds really into intimacy.
So, intimacy is one of the big 5 challenges that couples have in early parenthood, right? There's a lot going on there. Um, number one, emotional disconnection, what we just talked about, that almost has to be in place, or their emotional connection has to be in place to really lead into the kind of intimacy
Oh, yeah.
that your couple really wants.
We I'm gonna plug here that we do have another podcast, an older podcast episode that's on, like, emotional or physical connection, whose needs come first, because this is such a big topic
Hmm.
between, like, do you need to feel emotionally safe to have kind of physical intimacy, or do you need physical intimacy
To open up.
to open up?
Yeah. Yeah, I that is a dynamic that happens sometimes. So, for half of people, roughly, right? Emotional disconnection, if that's there, intimacy is not an option,
Mm,
right? If they're emotionally disconnected, they're not
mhm,
interested in getting physically. But for some folks, like if they're feeling emotionally disconnected, somehow like engaging in that activity, maybe it's like stress relief or whatever else it is, afterwards, it's like, I can talk now. Let's just talk about this stuff. Right.
mhm. So, obviously, especially for new parents, this can create
Right. Yeah.
a rough dynamic.
Right. Because just having a baby, things have changed physically, things have changed hormonally, things have changed. pro-
Mental loady.
Yeah. And even in the relationship, like there's gonna be needs come up that the couple's gonna want to look to each other for. There's just so much happening that can make it hard for intimacy to take place.
Yeah. But I think, a lot of this does come with hormone shifts, but low sex drive sometimes is about, like, the overstimulation
Right.
and the exhaustion and feeling unseen as a human, and it's that, like, "Oh my god, I'm expected to do that when I haven't even felt like
Right.
a full human."
Yeah, absolutely. And go ahead. I'm not trying to cut you off.
Mm,
We're talking about intimacy, which sometimes is like code for sex, but like we mean intimacy as closeness, although we've been talking about it as
mhm,
sex.
sure.
So there's this piece, right, that um, most of you have probably had in your relationship, this like emotional, non sexual, emotional closeness, intimacy that's like not sex, right? And that,
Do you mean, like, sharing a really deep story or being vulnerable? Like, what do you mean by that?
yeah, I guess there's probably psychological intimacy. I don't know if that's right.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, it does. Emotional intimacy. Yeah, I think opening up or even, physical touch can still be non-sexual but be intimate.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it can take a variety of forms. What I'm saying is this is an opportunity now after baby to expand that,
Mhm.
right? Build that kind of intimacy until things physically start to feel
Yeah.
right again.
Hey, friend, if you have little ones at home or on the way, you need more than just parenting tips and stroller recommendations. You need support that actually strengthens your relationship, protects your peace, and helps you feel like a team. That's exactly what we do at Postpartum Together. Through coaching, workshops, and VIP couples weekends designed to meet you right where you are. If you're ready to stop just surviving and start building something stronger together, book a free call with us using the link in the show notes. We'll have a real conversation, get to know what's going on behind closed doors, and explore what's possible for you two. Because you deserve a relationship that's not just holding on, but growing deeper, steadier, and more connected than ever. And we can help you get there.
And obviously, if you're doing the what kind of intimacy is that? Non-sexual intimacy. It's probably more likely that
You'll get back to a place
of
of
sexual intimacy.
regular sexual intimacy, which is the goal for a lot of people. And, like, one of the biggest things I see searched on or posted on, like, Facebook groups or even Reddit is, like, how long are you going without having sex? How long has it been for you,
Mm,
specifically after baby? It's a
Yeah.
big taboo topic.
Yeah.
And I think that this dynamic of like emotional closeness and physical closeness,
Mhm.
the bad pattern I see is people getting kind of defensive or protective of what they give to their partner because they feel like they're not getting what they want, and it's like kind of the who goes first. And if that's mixed with like resentment and defensiveness,
Mhm.
two of you can be such punks that you just keep going down that road, both of you miserable, but
Holding your ground.
holding your ground. Yeah. So, really, a big goal is always to identify when that kind of thing is happening in the background
Mhm.
and just have an invitation to move past it.
Yeah.
I love when those conversations happen with couples. Like it comes up to say, oh, that's what's happening here. Because of this, I'm not opening up here. Because of that, I get defensive when this happens. And when we bring it to the light, we get to recognize it and be like, okay, well, next time this happens, you can name it and like ask for a different outcome.
Yeah.
And now you can have this conversation right now and move past it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I mean, you've said that in different ways before, but when you name it, as soon as you name it, you can expect a different outcome or you
Right.
can choose a different outcome.
Yeah.
Like that is amazing. Like you can change your relationship, but it takes awareness first,
Yes.
right?
It takes awareness first, but a lot of people are going to stay aware
Mhm.
and just stay there.
Like, you mean like the folks that are just complaining all the time about how bad it is because they're
Right.
really aware, but they don't know how to get out?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The people who have hoped things were going to get better,
If
or
that's you
we love you
and we're on your side,
and we want you to experience better. Yeah. I don't have to go into that anymore, probably.
that's good. All right. But what are some takeaways for today?
Well, one thing we didn't hit on was like our last of the 5 pillars, which is
Oh,
just that identity transition. Um, if you have not heard the term matrescence, I will also link that episode, which really like encompasses for the mother, the birthing mother, the transition into motherhood, similar to adolescence. There's a lot of research going on. Well, probably not enough still. More than there has been. There is
mhm.
research going on around this and the rewiring of the brain, not only in the birthing mother, but we're seeing evidence of that too in the partner.
Patrescence.
Patrescence, parentescence. I'm just kidding. I know matrescence and patrescence are both like recognized, I think.
But that's yeah, no, what you're saying is true. Like there is a significant change. Like even men's hormones change, his brain begins to think differently.
Mm.
Like I don't think everybody knows what the causal links are, right? Like maybe your nervous systems are talking to each other in some way. Whatever's happening, dads change too. And I'm guessing dads that are m- more close, like probably physically, emotionally, both of those close with the family, baby and mom, probably is also experiencing more change, right? That's a
I
guess.
don't know. Yeah, we would need to look into that a little more.
Like if I worked on the road and never saw you and baby together,
Yeah,
just like the natural
sure.
accumulation of,
Yeah, that makes sense. This was one of the main things that shocked me.
oh yeah, because you're like, I am Chelsea, and this is who I am for my life. I got
I just I I don't know, I had my rhythm.
you did.
I had my
Yeah.
confidence. I
You had
had
just come into a season where you felt like fully independent. You weren't interested in dating. You were planning.
Oh, well, when we met, but when we had a
Oh,
baby,
sorry.
it's a little different.
I felt like it carried through the whole time.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, that confidence carried through the whole time.
Yeah.
But having a baby was like a hit to that. I was
How
not getting
so?
feedback at work for being so damn good at my
Mhm,
job, which I loved feedback. I chose
mhm,
hard ass jobs probably just to feel like I did a great job. Um, your role in your family changes. We're
yeah,
both the eldest. We had the first grandchild.
right.
So relationships with siblings and parents and grandparents, that shifts. Friendships and like social life. And we moved back to be close to family, but we had a big move during pregnancy too. So, like, our community roots weren't so deep.
Right.
Our jobs changed, like, so many factors of life. My body was unrecognizable to me for a while, and, that felt hard. There was grief, and it's weird because it coincides with, like, the joy and how magnificent, like, this new baby, it's so cool, and yes, I did that, and also, like, I will never be that same person
Yeah.
in such a substantial way, similar to, like, when you realize, like, I'm a teenager, more on the road to an adult, like, I will never be a little kid with a little kid, like, brain and view of the world again. That's a big ass shift.
That is a big ass shift. I feel like there's these cultures, right, that have the rituals
Mhm,
into I'm just thinking about, like, boys into manhood.
mhm,
And different cultures have had different sort of rituals or practices. It's not really like there's one of those in our modern culture, at least not in the
mm-mm.
US, but I will tell you that when we had our first, I was like, "Oh, I definitely have to be grown up if I'm not yet."
Mhm.
It was like a real the things you don't think about that end up hitting you really hard when you kinda realize them, and so that was a huge shift and I'm like, "Well, shoot, I didn't have, like, a lot of great fathers modeled, right? I definitely wanna be a great dad to my kid, and I just didn't know what to do, right? I wanted to be a great dad. I'm like, but I felt like I was on the outside looking in a lot,
Mm.
and I didn't know, like, my identity just stayed in this ambiguous place, right? And it's not until now that in our relationship as a family that a lot of that has started to become clear. And looking back, I'm like, "Oh, I wish I would have known this before." That's why this is so important to us, right? Like, families don't have to go through that stuff. It can be, a lot better.
Yeah. As you were describing that, I was like, yes, that is exactly why we're here.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we're doing this because I needed you and you needed me
Mm.
and I wanted to show up for you and you wanted to show up for me. And in the midst of all those changes, we didn't know how to connect the dots without a lot of going off the dot path.
For us.
And we get to help people connect the dots sooner.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so valuable, right? I right, like, I love our family. I love our story. Like, there's a lot of things I would never, ever change. But one thing I would change is if we could go back to when our children were infants and we could turn all that stress off and really connect deeply and get to a safe place with each other. Like, I would have wanted, if I could go back, that would be the one thing and provide that security in the home, like that safety, that peace that between a couple that, like, creates the atmosphere in the home.
Yeah. Well, we can't go back, but we can go forward.
That's right. I mean, that's really how I feel about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's help other people because there's a lot to be gained.
Did you have any aha moments or helpful reframes that came from this episode? If so, would you take a minute to lift us up and leave a review or a comment on the podcast page? It's hard for me to ask this, but I know it's so helpful for us as we reach more and more families and make the world a better place, starting in our own homes. So, again, if something stuck out to you, if you are sending this to your partner so that you can have a conversation, or if there was a helpful tip you're going to employ in your own life, take a moment, leave a review, and let's keep the conversation going.